Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky back with my plans and pans. Well, after a very disturbing Friday and so much concern afterwards of the decision of the what I call a rogue Supreme Court, I spent the day Sunday at the Pride Parade. It was such a happy event in Chicago, back after a few years where we weren't able to do it because of COVID. And I don't know how many people were there, but it seemed like millions, like the largest ever. And I had a ball. I was riding in a rickshaw that was driven side by side. I could actually touch people and cheer with them. And what we were cheering, of course, is the celebration of LGBT gay rights. It's so fantastic. And I was so proud of all the people that were there, and there were families and old people and young people, everybody celebrating that right and celebrating just being together and feeling powerful and happy in the city of Chicago. But of course, it was a very difficult week. At first, I wasn't surprised, I'm sure you weren't, that the court had decided to overturn Roe, the decision that was announced to end the access to abortions in the United States of America had been forecast by a draft of the opinion that was released some time ago. And the final decision that was made is very, very much like it. Essentially, it does leave to the states the ability to have their own laws about abortion rights, and it is expected that it may be as many as 26 states, more than half the states in the country, that will either eliminate or severely limit abortion rights. Many have done that already. In my view, I know in the view of most Americans, the vast majority of whom think that Roe v. Wade should not have been overturned. And so this court went against the view of the American people. And I know, because before Roe, I was well aware. I was around, of course, and I remember friends and hearing stories about women who had harrowing experiences trying to get an abortion, and I know that some people died. And let's be clear, Roe v. Wade was not the beginning of women having abortions. It was the end of women dying from abortions. And there is no question that because of this decision, women will die. And it's not the end. Clarence Thomas said something in his support of overturning Roe v. Wade and limiting abortion rights. He also said that we should do more. That in the United States of America, we should prohibit contraception, think of that, and same-sex marriage. Yeah, he wants to go further to limit people's rights. And I see abortion rights as the fundamental right. Because if you cannot control your own body, then you can't plan your life. And this is a very, very bad decision. The President of the United States made a very strong and really passionate statement opposing what was done. And I was really happy that he said, this decision is not the final word. You can have the final word. He was speaking to the American people. He said that Congress could act. And you know that the House of Representatives has already passed a bill that would essentially codify abortion rights that were in Roe v. Wade. The Senate had a vote that failed, but we know already we have 48 votes in the Senate. And so the solution to this problem may only be months away. I'm talking about the November election Everyone should vote your opinion on this, because Roe v. Wade, abortion rights, will be on the ballot. And if we make sure that there are enough people in the House and the Senate, then we can even end the filibuster, and we could be on our way toward having the Senate endorse the freedom to have an abortion. So it may not be long in the future. This fight is not over, and we are seeing a tsunami of people, women and men, coming out and saying, no, we are not going back. And so at the end of the day, as really not only disappointed but sad for women who have gone in now, even for appointments that they had and been turned away. The other thing you should know is that Governor Pritzker called for a special session of the Illinois General Assembly. They're going to gather soon, it may be very soon, to have a session to decide how Illinois, which is a safe haven, abortions are legal in Illinois. We're one of the best states in terms of those laws in the country, and we believe that women all over the country will be rushing to Illinois. So they're going to meet to discuss how Illinois can be helpful to women outside of Illinois. Also wanted to talk to you about gun violence. And you know that we were able to pass legislation in the House of Representatives after the Senate already acted, which was great. I do want to mention that the Supreme Court, the day before the bad abortion decision, also made it easier for guns to be available in the city of New York, making it clear that this Supreme Court is more interested in gun rights than in human rights and women's rights. But the legislation, I think I told you last week, but let me just briefly go over that. One of the things that it does is have a red flag law, which says that law enforcement can make sure that people who could be of harm to themselves and others and are adjudicated in that way cannot have access to guns. There is also the boyfriend loophole that we closed. You know, we already had a law that said that if spouses have been convicted of domestic violence, that guns can be taken away. But now the boyfriend loophole says if there's a relationship and a threat to or adjudication of domestic violence, that gun from that individual can also be taken away. We are also, and I think this is very important for Chicago and for Illinois, cracking down on straw purchases and on trafficking of weapons, because most of the weapons used in gun assaults and murders are from guns that come from out of state. This will be very, very important. One shocking statistic that I learned about gun violence is that over the last 2 decades, more school children have died because of being shot by guns than on-duty policemen and active duty military. Think of that. And of course, I told you already last week that the #1 killer of children in the United States of America is from a gun. And I mean, that is more than cancer or car accidents or any other cause. Gun violence is killing our children. And not to mention, aside from the mass shootings, just everyday shootings that we see, unfortunately, on our streets in the Chicago area and surrounding communities. I also wanted to talk to you about price gouging. You know, We talk about and hear about inflation, and yes, it's a problem. Prices are going up. But you know, the American people aren't stupid. Over 70% of Americans have said that they believe that the reason is for the high price of gas is that the big oil companies are overcharging, that they are gouging them. And we absolutely have proof. The top 5 oil companies, you know who they are. We're talking about Shell and ExxonMobil and BP and Chevron, have raised their prices in the first 3 months of 2022 by 300% over the first 3 months of last year. And we also know that they have made profits. These companies have made record profits over that time. And actually, the global CEO of BP has stated that BP is a money machine when oil prices are high. Now, this isn't because their costs have gone up. It is not. It is because they made a decision. They made a decision then rather to produce more oil, that they would not only raise their profits, they would give more to their shareholders, they would do more stock buybacks, which is buying their own stock back, making more money, and raising the wages of the CEOs. The House of Representatives actually passed the Price Gouging Prevention Act. I will point out that not a single Republican ended up voting for that bill. It passed the House, but the Senate has not acted. But most Americans, vast majority of Americans, would like to see, Republicans and Democrats, by the way, would like to see a windfall profits tax. And it has been, such a bill has been introduced. We need to move that forward. You know, we want to encourage the White House to call upon the oil companies to reduce their prices for ordinary Americans. You know, the amount of money that the oil companies made over the last year has that amount of increased profit accounts for about 26% of what all customers have spent on gasoline in the United States of America. So we would definitely see those prices go down if we were able to stop the price gouging. You know, I've been working for years now, actually about 3 years, to finally get legislation to protect online consumer privacy. This is something that Americans really want. The vast majority of Americans feel very insecure online about the safety of their data, as well they should. So in this last week, we had what we call a markup. That's where you put a bill into language so that it can be voted on. And that happened in my Consumer Protection Subcommittee, and I'm very excited that it was unanimous, that we had bipartisan support to get that done. It was really fantastic. And what that means is that we're going to create a secure feeling for everyone that goes online that you control your data. It can't be shared with any third party without your permission. You can delete, you can move it, you can correct it. You will not be forced into take it or leave it agreements. I've always hated the idea that if I want to buy something, you get to the end of the road and they say, well, in order to get that product that you want, you have to allow for cookies, which means that they can collect your data and sell it to a data broker, We take that power away from the companies and we pretty much eliminate data brokers altogether. This is going to be a much safer environment, and particularly for children. We have done a lot to protect children from harm online, which does occur, and we raise the age of children that are protected from age 13 to 17. So we are really looking forward to that bill now going from subcommittee to the full Energy and Commerce Committee to the floor of the House and then getting passed in the Senate. Yes, it's a process, but it is time. You know, other countries, the European Union, and even states like California have already moved ahead of us in protecting consumer data and consumers online. And now we're going to be doing that and holding the big tech companies accountable. We are tired of all the promises and actually the lies that we've heard, and now we're going to have it in law. Data privacy will become a reality. And the January 6th committee continues to do its work. It's really been remarkable, the kind of information that has been revealed, things that we didn't know before, the kind of really vicious attacks on innocent people that were working at the polls. You may have seen the attack on a couple of these poll workers, this woman and her mother, who did nothing more than try and assure the accuracy of elections. Donald Trump mentioned this woman, a black woman, and her mother who had worked at the polls, had mentioned their names over and over. Death threats came. This one woman said her life had actually been destroyed by this kind of harassment that she had. Her mother was afraid to ever go outside. It was dangerous. The Speaker of the House in Arizona gave really dramatic testimony, talking the kind of pressure that he got from from President Trump and from everyone around him, Rudy Giuliani, to say that he would change the vote, that he would help make it a fact, a lie into a fact, that Donald Trump had won the election there. He said that he would not do it. It was the Constitution and his faith that said he would not comply. And it went on, and there is more to come. You know, Donald Trump, who at first said, yes, the Republicans should not participate in the committee, is now saying it was a mistake, and he's right, because the witnesses that they have called have, by and large, been Republicans who are showing the activities of the White House under Trump, but also the complicity of some of the Republican members of Congress in the January 6th insurrection. So more to come, and we are interested in seeing the other information and seeing what the follow-up will be in terms of accountability. And finally, let me talk about COVID. So this last week, there were 5,568 new cases and 22 deaths, which is more than I've actually been reporting of late. I know that one of my grandchildren just called me this week and said that they had COVID and had to, stay home, which is a drag because they have roommates, so that's an issue. But the big news really is still that the vaccine for kids as young as 6 months old is now available. I heard a report that not too many people have been taking advantage of that. From 6 months to 6 years, kids are available and are eligible, and there has been no evidence of any of the side effects that could be harmful. So that's my report for this week. Have a wonderful summer so far. The weather has been quite beautiful in the Chicago area, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.